Welcome to the Cybersecurity Competition Federation show. I'm Dan Manson. I teach computer information systems at Cal Poly Pomona and serve as principal investigator for a National Science Foundation grant to help form an umbrella organization over cybersecurity competitions. The Cybersecurity Competition Federation can support the development of skill at a large scale by bringing cybersecurity competitions under an umbrella organization which will help players of all ages and skill levels identify a point of entry into a continuum of cybersecurity competition experiences. With a focus on communication and promotion, the CCF maintains the autonomy of competition creators, supports their business models, and does not interfere with their sponsorship or funding sources. October 1st marks the start of the 12th Annual National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, led by the National Cybersecurity Alliance and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. We spoke with Kristin Judge, Director of Special Projects for the National Cybersecurity Alliance, about the importance of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month and synergy between cybersecurity competitions and awareness.
What is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month?
It is every October. I believe we're on our 12th this year, and it is a month where we focus everyone's attention. We hope that it happens every month, but in October we focus folks' attention on what they can be doing to stay safe online with real positive, usable messages for every online consumer.
What are some of the main activities that occur during National Cybersecurity Awareness Month?
NCSA has made it very easy for folks to participate in National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Joining onto the campaign, we create all of the materials you need. No one needs to create anything for the campaign. We have memes and tweets and Facebook posts so people can go online and start spreading good messages. We have tip sheets and infographics and blogs and a lot of events around the country. So everyone can get involved at some level. If you have just a couple hours to do something, or if you have a day or a week, there's something that you can get involved in.
How can cybersecurity competitions help promote cybersecurity awareness?
Well, we need to make cybersecurity an issue for younger people. So number one, we need to make sure they understand this is something that they need to be more active in. Then we also need to know, we need to gain a larger workforce, as I'm sure you know. That's why we need these competitions so badly. So if we have the competitions around the country, folks are talking about it. Parents might be getting their kids involved for the first time, and then it becomes a part of everyone's everyday discussions, and it's going to be a critical role for getting our workforce development up. I think what you're doing with the competitions on the technical side is really key, because again, we need those skills from folks to take on the challenges we have coming up. But if we can incorporate the messaging that everyone can benefit from in those competitions somehow, I think we can take it to that next level of an audience. So if we do things in October, we could raise awareness about what events are coming up and the cyber challenges for the kids. But let's maybe think about bringing in some of the messaging for the everyday consumer into the competitions.
How does someone become involved in National Cybersecurity Awareness Month?
Very easy to do. Go to staysafeonline.org or dhs.gov/stopthinkconnect and look for ways to sign on as a champion. You sign on as a champion, all of the logos and content that we have is made and available and free for folks to use, so they can get involved in the discussions. One of the great things we have is tweet chats at #chatSTC, and we're going to have one at least every week during October. Anyone that has a Twitter account can start tweeting during the tweet chat and start getting involved in the conversation.
At what age do we need to start having cybersecurity awareness?
You know, a friend of ours had a 2-year-old who was pressing on the TV trying to make things move like they do on her iPad. So it starts from the very beginning. We try and think about cybersecurity awareness like we do public health. And if you think about it, when the SARS was going around, everyone learned to sneeze and cough into their elbow, where we used to cough into our hand. So if we could think about making cybersecurity as simple and embedded into our messaging like that, think of how you learned to cross the street. Your mom taught you look left, look right, look left again. Well, we should be saying to people, stop. Before you get online, think about where you're going and what information you're going to be giving, and then connect with safety. It's the same kind of messaging that we need. It is a public safety issue.
We continue this week with Inside the Game. With me is Jason Pittman. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, everybody.
Jason, we just saw a really cool segment on the synergy between the National Cybersecurity Alliance, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and cybersecurity competitions. I really believe that if we can expand cybersecurity competitions in the future, we can create greater security awareness in the general public. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, this reminds me a lot of Schwarzenegger's initiative in the Reagan first Bush era with physical fitness, where, you know, as a kid, physical fitness activities were integrated into the curriculum, and it was all part of this general movement to try and get the population healthier and more fit. And I look at cybersecurity competitions as the next evolution of that, where, interestingly enough, they're an output of an increased awareness, but they're also an input to it. So anybody can play a competition and become more aware.
And the great thing about cybersecurity competitions is that at the basic level, these are scenarios that we face all the time on the internet. Each time we go on the internet, we have to stop, think before we connect. A lot of people don't, and that's how they get in trouble. But a lot of people make basic errors in these competitions and get in trouble too.
Right, you know, and right now the state of cybersecurity competitions is such that it's this lofty ivory tower. You know, again, if we take DEF CON as the holy grail, it's certainly the most notorious competition for professionals. But could you imagine having a mini game embedded in the Google homepage for John Q. Public, teaching them how to send safe emails or not to click on things? Simple stuff that everybody faces because, let's face it, everybody uses technology.
Right, these cybersecurity competitions, as they relate to basic cybersecurity awareness, do not need to be that technical. They need to be a lot of common sense. The On Guard games at onguard.gov that Kristin mentioned, we use those for middle school cybersecurity education. I think the more that we take cybersecurity awareness down to K through 6, the more we're going to see gamification and the synergy between competitions and awareness.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, the whole achievement system and gamification really works for how we think as human beings. It's the incentivized learning.
There are a couple websites that Kristin mentioned that we want to make sure that you go to and use during National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The first website is Stay Safe Online. This is the National Cybersecurity Awareness website, and this has a wealth of resources to help you during Cybersecurity Awareness Month and throughout the year. The second website is the Department of Homeland Security website for National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and this shows you on a week-by-week basis the major activities going on to support National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. By the way, how is Aunt Edith doing these days?
You know, her and Jimmy have been hard at work. They dug and dug and dug, and they found, I think, a really interesting challenge this week to talk about. It's from PolyCTF, and they found something that should be beginner level by its point value, but, you know, as usual, Aunt Edith has a really strong opinion about it.
Let's see what she has.
Welcome once again to Edicts by Edith, the show for the discerning connoisseurs of cybersecurity challenges. I am your hostess, Edith.
Hey you guys, it's me, Uncle Jimmy. This week, we're talking about Forensic Challenge from PolyCTF 2012. Hey Edith, what you think?
Forensic 100, whilst an easy challenge is poorly written, Jimmy. The challenge is solved by analyzing a packet capture. The clue simply asks you to find the key. However, the type of key is not specified. Is that an encryption key or the challenge key? How uncivilized.
Sounds like a pack of dogs that works for Vincenzo.
Jimmy, my word, what is a DEG?
You know, again, like a woof woof of dogs.
There could be any number of types of keys in a packet capture. At level 100, we should expect the uninitiated to need information that is more specific. Failure can be so discouraging.
Oh, you got that right, Edith. Anyways, Jason, back to you. You have fun with your show, okay?
If you have a competition you would like us to cover in a future show, please contact us at cyberfed.org. I'm Dan Manson. See you next week.